A planet called Nowhere is where the Guardians of the Galaxy have set up their base. Rocket stood by the window in his room when suddenly Adam Warlock from another galaxy burst into the room and grabbed him. Rocket managed to break free from his grasp. The other Guardians heard the commotion and rushed to help Rocket. Nebula, a cyber courier, arrived with a self-enhanced cutting-edge device and attempted to fight Adam Warlock. However, Adam's strength overpowered her, pinning her down and delivering punches, then throws her away. Groot managed to hold him for a while, but his immense power proved to be too much. Adam shot Rocket, and Mantis tried to stop him, but he dodged her. Quill then shot him multiple times. Drax delivered a powerful punch that left him on the ground, but as Drax went to attack further, Adam blocked him and pinned him down. Rocket fell to the ground, wounded. Nebula refused to give up and stabbed Adam Warlock from behind, causing him to groan in pain. As Nebula left to check on Rocket, Adam managed to escape. Quill tried to stop Rocket's wound with a med pack, but the device was killing him. Nebula immediately instructed them to turn it off. As Rocket lay unconscious, he recalled his past. As a baby raccoon, he had been experimented on by the High Evolutionary, who trapped him in a cage where he met other test subjects. Nebula scanned and examined Rocket's body, discovering a device inside him that could kill Rocket if someone tried to heal him. Only a passkey could override Rocket's kill switch. Nebula suspected that the passkey could be located in ArgoCorp. With approximately 48 hours left for Rocket to live, Quill and his team left prepare to retrieve the passkey, leaving Kraglin and Cosmo to guard Nowhere. In Counter-Earth, the High Evolutionary confronted Adam and his mother. Adam's mother told the High Evolutionary that her son was still young and unable to face the Guardians, resulting in a failure to capture Rocket. The High Evolutionary became very angry and insisted on obtaining Rocket at any cost. He hit Adam Warlock and threatened his mother, stating that if he failed to bring Rocket, he would wipe out the entire civilization. Due to Rocket's cleverness, the High Evolutionary wanted to study his brain. The Guardians, on board their ship, managed to locate ArgoCorp. ArgoCorp was protected with shields, which Quill was able to break using his knowledge and abilities. Upon entering, the Ravagers tried to stop them, but Quill argued that they had an appointment and Nebula informed them that it was with Gamora. They were given ArgoCorp uniforms to avoid attracting attention. Mantis thanked Gamora for her help, but Gamora revealed that she was only interested in the reward promised by her sister, Nebula. Stakar briefed them on the dangers and consequences they might encounter during their mission. While Rocket was in his unconscious state, the High Evolutionary was amazed at how Rocket's intelligence had skyrocketed. He then showed Rocket the lab where their goal was to create a perfect species and society. He tried to explain the experiment by putting a turtle in the chamber. The turtle underwent changes, but it also became very angry and aggressive, which the High Evolutionary saw as a flaw in their experiment. Rocket looked at the chamber machine and told him that it also changed the chemicals in the subject's brain, leading to aggression. Rocket, back in his cell, was planning for the future with his fellow subjects. Suddenly, the drunken High Evolutionary dragged him to the lab to demonstrate that Rocket's perception about the chamber was correct and the experiment had succeeded. However, consumed by jealousy over Rocket's intelligence, the High Evolutionary ordered his colleagues to prepare for the extraction of Rocket's brain and the incineration of the rest of Batch 89. While back in his cell, Rocket managed to create a pass key and shared the plan with his friends. He eventually broke free, but the High Evolutionary shot one of his friends, which angered Rocket and resulted in him scratching the High Evolutionary's face. With his friends dead, Rocket managed to escape alone. With Gamora's guidance, the Guardians were able to land at ArgoCorp's decompression chamber. Nebula made a hole in the chamber, and Quill quickly placed a jammer to keep them undetected as they entered the ship. However, Drax was unable to fit through the hole, triggering a breach signal. Before security could use the eye to search for the cause, Quill successfully jammed it. The security manager then sent guards to investigate and ensure everything was fine. Once inside, they promptly removed their spacesuits and hid them in what Mantis believed was a locker. The guards entered the room armed with guns. Quill quickly pretended to be angry, claiming that they were there to prevent a neutral quark from causing further damage to the satellite's wall. The guard believed their story and left the room. Mantis then noticed their spacesuits outside, prompting Gamora to explain that the so-called locker was actually a contamination bin, which angered Nebula. Quill reminded everyone to stay focused on their mission. The Guardians and Gamora were able to freely roam around the satellite. However, the security control spotted Drax and Mantis as suspicious. Meanwhile, Gamora held a gun to Yura, ordering her to produce Rocket's file. After acquiring the file, they found themselves cornered by Orgocentries. Drax and Mantis fought against them, but due to their overwhelming numbers, both Drax and Nebula were shot. Quill pleaded for Yura's help, and they managed to find their way out. As they went through Rocket's file, they discovered the ruthless journey Rocket had endured during the experiment. To their dismay, they realized that the passkey had been deleted. The only way to acquire it was through the High Evolutionary's recorder. Quill was determined to confront him and retrieve it, but Gamora disapproved of their plan. Gamora, wanting to leave the ship, sent her location to her friend, unaware that her friend had been captured by Adam and his mother. Upon arrival at Counter-Earth, Quill was amazed to find a replica of Earth inhabited by hum animals, which were the products of the High Evolutionary's experiment. With the assistance of the hum animals, Quill was able to locate the High Evolutionary's base. As they drove toward the base, Quill observed the flaws in the High Evolutionary's experiment. The guards only permitted Quill and Groot to enter, leaving Nebula outside. Meanwhile, alone on the ship, Gamora witnessed Rocket being taken by a warrior pig. Gamora attempted to save Rocket but was overpowered. The pig was about to launch a deadly attack on her, but Adam, desiring recognition from the High Evolutionary, killed him. Quill raised arguments regarding some of the High Evolutionary's imperfect experiments, to which the latter expressed his desire to start over and ordered his men to blow up Counter-Earth. In the explosion, Adam's mother was killed and Adam himself was left wounded. Amidst the chaos, Groot detonated a grenade, and together with Peter, fought against the High Evolutionary's men. They successfully obtained the High Evolutionary's recorder and managed to escape. With the help of the passkey, they were able to override Rocket's kill switch and were able to heal him. Nebula, Drax, and Mantis, thinking that Quill and Groot were still on the High Evolutionary's ship, made their way to it. Through Drax's strength, they were able to open one of the doors that led to their discovery of the little creatures. Quill then contacted Nebula to find out their location but was furious to learn that they were still on the ship. Before long, the High Evolutionary discovered their presence and took them captive. He threatened Quill to kill them if he did not bring Rocket back to him. Quill then called Kraglin for backup to save his friends. Nebula, Drax, and Mantis found themselves in a cell separate from the little creatures. Nebula tried to instruct them on what to do, but she couldn't understand their language, which made her angry. Drax then calmed the children and spoke to them in their own language. Quill and his team boarded their ship and breached the High Evolutionary's ship. The High Evolutionary ordered the release of Hellspawn, which infiltrated Nowhere and began destroying it. The strength of the Hellspawn proved to be no match for the people there, but Kraglin and Cosmo utilized their abilities and were able to stop them. Amidst the chaos, Nebula, Drax, and Mantis discovered that they were not alone in the cell, but rather accompanied by a huge octopus. The octopus cornered them, but Mantis bravely calmed it down, gaining its trust. The High Evolutionary's colleague witnessed their ship being destroyed and argued with him, insisting on the need to retreat. However, due to the High Evolutionary's obsession with Rocket, she turned her back on him and attempted to seize control of the ship. Before she could succeed, the High Evolutionary used his power to subdue her. He then instructed his men to proceed to the starboard spaceport to retrieve Rocket and eliminate the remaining individuals. Quill, Gamora, Rocket, and Groot devised a plan to find their friends and rescue them. But they were surprised to discover that their friends had already managed to escape with the octopus. Quill then urged them to leave the starboard area, but Mantis voiced concerns about the safety of the little creatures. Rocket, feeling disgusted by the experiments conducted on him, expressed a strong desire to save the little creatures. Without hesitation, the rest of the Guardians wholeheartedly supported his decision. Drax successfully opened the starboard door, and they were immediately confronted by a horde of enemies. Despite the overwhelming numbers, the Guardians utilized their collective strength and unique abilities to take down the enemies one by one, ultimately emerging victorious from the intense battle. Finally, the Guardians freed the little creatures and escorted them to nowhere, providing them with an opportunity to start anew, including Adam. While Rocket was assisting the little creatures, he stumbled upon a cage filled with animals, including his own raccoon species. Motivated to set them free, he opened the cell, only to be confronted by the High Evolutionary. Rocket shot at him, but when the High Evolutionary prepared to retaliate, the other Guardians rushed to Rocket's aid. They launched a relentless attack on the High Evolutionary, with Gamora removing his mask, revealing the damage inflicted by Rocket. Drax implored Rocket to kill the High Evolutionary, but Rocket hesitated, acknowledging that he was a guardian of the galaxy. The Guardians proceeded to free all the animals and brought them along during their escape to nowhere. Quill, initially uncertain about making it out alive, was rescued by Adam, who came to his aid in the nick of time. Back in their regular lives on Nowhere, Gamora bid farewell to the Guardians. Quill made the decision to return to Earth and seek closure to his grandfather. Meanwhile, Mantis expressed her desire to embark on a personal journey of self-discovery. Rocket was appointed as the new captain of Nowhere, entrusted with leading and safeguarding the community. As Quill reunited with his grandfather on Earth, on Nowhere, the inhabitants relished their newfound freedom and enjoyed a sense of peace. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to stay updated on our latest movie recaps.